Hey, Megumi Fushiguro might be one of the most frustrating characters in Jujutsu Kaisen. Not because he's weak, but because he keeps holding himself back. And the worst part of this is, he doesn't even realize it himself. Because Megumi isn't lacking in talent. He isn't lacking potential. If anything, he might have more potential than almost anyone else in the series. Yes, even more than you, Fort Kuna, Plot Kuna, Binding Bow Kuna. Alright, I know I'm letting my agenda getting the best of me right now. And we just saw a snippet of what those Fushiguro genes be on when they get activated. The apple really doesn't fall far from the tree. Hey, I don't want to hear none of y'all Megumi haters say nothing. Now that my boy's finally cooking up, y'all better stay on that side. Y'all are not invited to the cookout. I don't see any potential man nowhere, only a potential demon on the loose. But despite all that, he constantly limits himself. And honestly, that might be one of the most relatable things about him, especially if you're an artist or a creative person. Because a lot of creatives don't fail because they ain't good enough. They fail because they never fully allow themselves to go all in. And Megumi's story is a perfect example of what that looks like. From the very beginning, Megumi has a very specific way of approaching his fights. He plays it safe. He calculates. He avoids unnecessary risks. And on the surface, that seems smart. But there's a hidden problem with that mindset. Because when you always aim for the safe option, you also limit your potential. Megumi really doesn't fight to win. He fights to survive. And that difference is everything in Jujutsu Kaisen. And also in real life too, when you think about it. Because when you fight to survive, you never truly push your limits. You stay within what feels comfortable to you. What you think you have a control over. What feels controllable. And as I said, this doesn't just apply to combat. A lot of artists do the same thing. They create within their comfort zone. They avoid taking any risks. And they don't fully commit to bold ideas. I've been the same way too. Because deep down, they're all afraid of failing. Afraid of putting everything into something and it just not working out. So instead, they play it safe. Just like Megumi. But Megumi's mindset doesn't come from nowhere. It's shaped by his past, by his beliefs, by the way he sees the world. Megumi was literally abandoned by his father, almost sold off to the Sennin clan if it wasn't for Gojo. I think that event impacts Megumi's character more than he even realizes himself. Almost like he sees himself as expendable or basically just someone who's not worth the trouble, to put it simply. Okay, tell me, how many times as an artist or creative have you been told by people that your dreams are unrealistic? To think smaller, to see your passion as just a hobby or side project. I think people saying all those things to you throughout your whole life has colored and impacted the way you see life and your own limitations. I know that was the case for me at least. Megumi has always had a very pragmatic view of life. He doesn't believe in saving everyone. He chooses who he thinks deserves to be saved. And while that makes him different from, for example, Yuji, who believes everybody deserves to be saved, it also reflects something deeper. Megumi doesn't see himself as someone special. He doesn't see his own value clearly, which ties back to my previous theory about him being abandoned as a child. And that lack of self-belief affects how far he's willing to go. Because when you truly believe in your own potential, you subconsciously limit how much you're willing to risk. And again, this is something a lot of artists struggle with. You might have skill, and yes, you might have the ideas, but if you don't fully believe in them, you won't push them as far as they could go. There's a moment in season 1 of JJK where we see Megumi training with Gojo. Gojo tells Megumi something very important. He basically calls him out on his bullshit. Because here Gojo recognizes something that Megumi doesn't. That his biggest limitation isn't his technique or his abilities. He got the most valued technique from the Sennin clan, the 10 Shadows. His biggest limitation is his mindset. Megumi is capable of much more than he shows. But he's too focused on playing things safely. Too focused on avoiding failure. And this moment is very important because it plants the idea that maybe Megumi's growth won't come from gaining more power. It will come from changing how he thinks. And that's a huge parallel to being an artist. Improvement isn't about skill anymore. It's about mindset. It's about whether you're willing to take risks, whether you're willing to put your work out there, and most importantly, whether you're willing to fail publicly. You see, I've been painting and drawing my whole life, and for the past 2 years, I have been working partially my 9-to-5 job while building my business, my art business on the side. And I have been doing well, I'm not gonna lie, but I always felt I could do more. When I was working my job, I just felt like I was wasting my time. All this precious time I was giving to someone else working for somebody else's dream, I could spend that time working and building my own business even further. So I decided to take my life's biggest risk, quitting my job and going all in on my art business. So many people have told me I'm good at what I'm doing, but I never believed in myself and my art truly to the point where I could build something that could sustain and support my life. And basically that's why I've been resonating so much with Megumi lately. The current events of JJK Season 3, Megumi versus Reggie. This is where everything starts coming together. You see, during the culling game, Megumi is pushed into a situation where he can't rely on his usual approach. He's up against Reggie Star, someone unpredictable, dangerous, and really not someone he can defeat by playing it safe. At first, Megumi tries to approach the fight the way he always does. Carefully, strategically even. But it's simply not enough. And slowly, he's forced into a corner, into a situation where playing safe is no longer an option. And that's when something changes. Megumi stops holding back here. He stops trying to control everything. And instead, he goes all in. He expands his domain, even though it's incomplete, even though it's risky, even though it could fail. You see, we saw a glimpse of this side of him back in Season 1, and now he's back in the same situation. Just like back then, Megumi now chooses growth over safety. And as you remember, it paid off big time. This fight starts shifting tides. Megumi is gaining the upper hand here, doing Reggie absolutely dusty. Oh my God. But risking it all isn't enough. Reggie fights back. He proves to be way tougher and more slimy than we ever thought he was. It becomes a battle of endurance. So no, risking it all wasn't enough. But it was a bridge to a stalemate like this. Reggie in this fight is like a reflection or maybe a representation of life itself. I'm not gonna lie, I actually made this comparison up randomly. But hey, I'm low-key cooking here because listen, everything about Homeboy here is random as hell. His drip is made out of receipts. I just know all those fashion niggas gonna love this. Talking about some, oh, everybody and their mama gonna wear this after this fashion week. Biggest cap of all time. And his technique itself is spawning objects into reality. Just random bullshit go type of activities. But honestly, that's what I really love about Reggie's unpredictable character. Like honestly, no capping in the comments here. How many times has life just hit you with the most random bullshit that just left you dumbfounded? And all you can basically do is say, hey, fuck it, and move on. Cause life is just lifing. Reading this fight weekly a couple years ago was honestly top 10 Jujutsu Kaisen experience for me. They really kept you on your toes, never knowing what this guy is gonna pull out of his bottomless bag next. And when you really deep it, life itself is a con artist. It tries luring you into safety. It tries to convince you to strike a deal. Settle down, don't overdo it. When you struggle, it tries to convince you, hey, for each trick you got, I got 2 more. Give it up. And it will get one over on you, multiple times even. Just like Reggie does in this fight. But when your back is against the wall, the most important thing to do is to push back. Because when your back is against the wall, that's when life least expects you to fight back. It starts to show its true colors. Life never had dominion over you. Life never was a sure winner of this fight. Life is just a bully that puts on a facade, and once it starts to get a bit of pushback, it shatters, because life can only push you back as far as you allow it to. Just like Megumi allowed himself to be cornered in all his previous fights. This time he did get cornered too by Reggie. But this time it was intentional, because it brought him to this low point where his enemy least expected a pushback. It allowed him the opportunity to risk, and he chooses risk over control. And that is what allows him to win. And this whole Reggie situation is something I believe most artists can relate to, because at some point every artist, creative person reaches a similar crossroads. You can keep playing it safe, keep doing what's comfortable, keep making things you know will work, or you can take a risk, try something new, push your limits, even if it might fail. That's the scary part, because going all in means you can't hide anymore. If it fails, it's all out there for everybody to see. But something most people don't acknowledge is seeing someone fail doesn't make them a loser. It makes them relatable. It makes them real. And it's also the only way to grow. And Megumi's fight shows exactly that. His breakthrough doesn't come from being perfect. It comes from being willing to risk everything. And to conclude this video, I will say Megumi was never weak. He was just holding himself back. But I think Megumi's bad habit of holding himself back is something every artist needs to see or witness for themselves, because the biggest obstacle isn't always the algorithm when you're an artist or creative. It's not the audience either, or the system. Sometimes it's you, your fear, your doubts, your hesitation. And I realized that for myself. And the moment you stop holding back is the moment everything starts to change. And believe me when I say, it really can change for you too, just like it did for Megumi.